This is Jim Williams with the Hurricane City Tropical Update for October 30th, 11 a.m. Well, Rina has pretty much dissipated in the western Caribbean Sea after affecting the northeastern Yucatan Peninsula, and rain coming through South Florida. It's been very heavy rainfall over the past 24 hours. I'll show you a rain graph in just a minute. But here were the models on Rina, and this was from Monday, October 24th. Using the Hurricane City model maps, and you can see that we had a pretty good consensus with the models of this heading towards the Yucatan Peninsula, and then a very sharp turn to the right and or dissipating right near the Yucatan Peninsula. So the models had this pretty good. In fact, the European model, although the European model had it coming in more from the southeast towards the Yucatan, pretty much washes it out right here near the northeastern Yucatan. The HWRF model was pretty good as well. It had it coming in, but the only thing about the HWRF and the GFDL is they did have this as a major hurricane hitting the Yucatan, which did not happen. The system weakened rapidly as it approached the Yucatan and was down to tropical storm status. So it's officially a tropical storm hit for 3 of the cities in the Hurricane City database. Punta Allen, Mexico, Cancun, Mexico, and Cozumel, Mexico will all be considered as a hit from Tropical Storm Rita in the Hurricane City database. Now here is our rain from South Florida, and you notice this one day here, the 28th, is when the bulk of the remnants of Rina came through South Florida. We had almost 7 inches of rain here, and the rain still continues on and off. In fact, the cold front that swung the remnants of Rina through South Florida is going to back up through the Florida Straits and back up towards Florida again and continue dumping rainfall on Monday and Tuesday. So we have a little bit more rain to go, but so far almost 8 inches if you add up the last couple of days. We may end up with maybe 10 inches when it's all said and done from the remnants of Rina, as well as the passage of the cold front. The winds were not that much of an issue here, maybe 20 miles an hour, 25 mile an hour winds as the system moved through. Here's our live tower cam shot outside right now, and you can see that there's water on the ground, but the rain has pretty much moved through for the most part. There's still some showers coming in from the inland areas of Broward and Palm Beach counties, but basically nothing to be concerned about. Most of the heavy rain has moved through. Right here is the wind analysis of the Atlantic Basin, and we're still watching an area of disturbed weather in the western Caribbean Sea. And you know, a lot of the models indicated that a chunk of Rina would remain down in the western Caribbean. They also indicated that a new area of low pressure forming north of Panama could develop and head into Central America. So that's still the thinking with the models, but they've kind of backed off on development on this, and the National Hurricane Center is giving this a very low chance of development. But there's an area of disturbed weather right underneath a high pressure ridge in the western Caribbean Sea. There's very low pressures out here, and the thing is the system going to move west into the Pacific, or is it going to linger in the western Caribbean Sea? Well, that remains to be seen, but anything that does develop is going to be very slow to occur, and again, the models really aren't showing much of anything. In fact, the long-range GFS shows absolutely nothing here. So we'll just watch it and see what happens over the coming days. But it does look like a pretty good area to disturbed weather in the western Caribbean, so we'll keep an eye on that. Here's the typical track this time of the year. When you get into November, systems develop in the western Caribbean, and they take a very sometimes you get a system in the Gulf every now and then. You'll get a system like Lenny that'll move like this, but pretty much Florida doesn't really get hit that much in November. There's been a few that have moved through Florida in November, but the majority of them move over the Greater Antilles and the Bahamas and out into the open Atlantic. So we'll see if that happens this year. All right, I want to remind you that on November 1st, that's Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, the Weather and the Media Show. That's my quarterly show where I have interviews with people in the weather business that are on TV, storm chasers, people that have written books about weather. And this show coming up, our special guest is going to be Richard Horodner. There he is. And Richard, also known as Canebeard, is going to be here in the studio. He's coming down from Vero Beach, Florida. He's going to be here for about an hour and a half, and we're going to talk about his chasing career. He's one of the few guys that were actually in Hurricane Andrew with his house collapsing around him. And he's filmed most of the famous hurricanes that have hit not only the United States, but down in the Caribbean. He's very well known in the chase community. He's been on a lot of TV documentaries. He worked for the Weather Channel for a couple of years. So we're going to pick his brain, find out his whole history, and find out what he thinks about the current state of affairs on the internet and how things are going. It'll be an interesting show coming up here November 1st, 8 o'clock p.m. on HurricaneCity.tv that you're watching right now, so tune in for that. Mark your calendars, and I'll have another update the day of the show about the broadcast coming up. So that's about it for now. We'll keep an eye on the tropics, but things are quiet right now. Thank you again for visiting Hurricane City.